A guy said that if we were indigenous people, there will be some remnants of our indigenous past that survive, because 400 years is not long enough to erase a people's history. Now that's what somebody said. And when I first read that, I thought to myself, smart people are so dumb. Because I can't believe that a dude would honestly think that 400 years is not long enough to completely erase your history when you're being colonized, when you're being controlled, when you're being renamed every 40 years or so, man. From Indian to color to Negro to black to African American, you know what I'm saying? Every 40 years, every 45 years, they reclassify us. When somebody got that kind of authority over your identity, I don't see how you can think that 400 years is not long enough to erase your history.
This is a tremendous lesson for us because, you know, we're so proud of our American civilization. We think it'll go on forever. But when a civilization falls, history tells us it takes almost all memory of it with it. Civilization is really very fragile.
He says when the civilization falls, it takes all memory of it with it. Now imagine if somebody deliberately erased you. Imagine if somebody deliberately take away your identity, take away your culture, take away your language, take away everything about you. Imagine being under that type of dominant control for just 100 years, let alone 400 years. Just 100 years. Just a great grandparent to you. Imagine that. Oh, it's long enough, people. It's long enough. You know, what I come to realize, it's not that we don't have proof of our indigenous past. We just don't want to hear it. That's the truth. It's not that we don't have remnants of it. The thing is, we don't want to hear it. You know, you got New Orleans, for example, right? New Orleans still got an Indian culture down there, but officially it's attributed to Asians who don't have the Indian culture. You find that same Indian culture that you find in New Orleans all through the West Indies, all through Black Brazil, all through the Melanesian Islands, all through the Polynesian Islands, all through Madagascar, and islands outside of Africa, Papua New Guinea. Then you start getting into Africa itself. You find this Indian type, what you call an Indian type of culture. Whether they do it for festivals only, it doesn't matter. The point is, the feathers, the headdress, and all this stuff. You find this among Black people literally all over the world, including here in North America, because we do it still in New Orleans. That's a remnant of a culture, people, that survive. That's a remnant of a culture. That's what you're seeing, but you ignore it. You instead say that comes from Asians. When you look around the world, Asians don't do that nowhere. They don't do it in Cambodia. They don't do it in Thailand. They don't do it in Japan. They don't do it in Korea. They don't do it in China. So where did these Asians get this culture from if Asians themselves don't do it nowhere? So we ignore what we see, and we still say people in New Orleans got that from the Asians. Okay, well, how do you explain the people in the West Indians doing the same thing? How do you explain to people in Central and South America, Black people in Central and South America doing the same thing? How do you explain people through the Melanesian Islands doing the same thing? Look at this graphic of mine, right? Look on the screen. I asked the AI to create me an image of a Melanesian warrior, and look what it gave me. What you got here is Black Asians. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad called us Asiatic. In fact, languages like Hebrew, Arabic, Amharic, all of these, Swahili, all of these are right now still officially labeled as Afro-Asiatic languages, because there was a time where the Black people, like my ethnic group, like our ethnic groups that's all over the globe, actually, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with Africa. The problem is the problem with people from other countries is them. Problem is not us. I don't have a problem with West Indians either, because my great-great-grandmother I say that right? No, my great-grandmother. She's actually from the French West Indies, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have a problem with West Indians either. But my point is, our ethnic group was once called Asiatic. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called us Asiatic. That's why the Honorable Noble Drew Ali called us Asiatic, because this is what we were called at one time. Now, I don't have a problem with these accepting labels or not accepting labels. I don't get into that stuff, man, because endonyms and exonyms, they come and go. You know what I'm saying? A thing by any other name is still the same thing. So I don't get too deep into that stuff. But I'm just want to point that out, that this is why we're called Asiatic. So anyway, this culture that you see, this Indian type culture, we see it all over the place, but only when it comes to the people in New Orleans do we say, oh, no, y'all got that from Indians, y'all got that from Asians. But we see the culture all over the globe, including Africa. Literally, this culture is all over. This is a worldwide culture for black people. How in the hell are we gonna sit here with a straight face and say we got that from Asians, who don't do that nowhere? Come on, man, stop it, bro. Stop it, man. This is crazy. So we got remnants of our culture. We don't accept what we see. That's the problem. We see the pyramids over here. Anybody who's been to the Perot Museum, like I have, down here in Dallas, know that the Mayan were black. But yet you got TV shows of the Mayan biker gang, right? All these Mexican type people. They not the Mayans, but I seen it with my own eyes. The Mayan were black. See, the problem with labels and stuff like this, and these scientific labels, this is how they control things, you know what I'm saying? Because if they don't want a person to be you, all they gotta do is put it on a different label. They call us black, so when they find black people bones or something, they say, well, it wasn't black. They were Afro-Asiatic, you know what I'm saying? Or they were Melanesian, right? If they don't want to say that they were black, all they got to do is put it under a different label, put it under a different classification, and right there, that basically is not true, and that's what you call paper genocide. This is what you call controlling things by paper. Now it's funny I went there because another brother talked about that. Let me let you hear what he said. Now this brother here is actually a genealogist, right? This is what he do. He tracked down the genealogy of people, of black Americans, right? For a occupation and a hobby. This is what he does. And I want you to hear what he said. Listen to this here.
Tell us who you are.
Well, on YouTube, I'm known as Mike TV. I also run the YouTube channel Native Black Ancestry. But I'm a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, a Native Black American, if you will, and I've been on a journey to reveal hidden truths and play my part in what we call the Grand Awakening. And I built NativeBlackAncestry.com as basically my research hub. So, there's a digital archive on there with over 600 documents, family photos, newspaper clippings, book excerpts, et cetera, all pointing to our indigeneity. And I also provide genealogy services that are dedicated to helping Black Americans uncover and prove their Indigenous heritage, especially those of us who have ancestors who were erased through a process known as paper genocide.
He said, especially those of us who have had ancestors erased through a process known as paper genocide. If people got control over you, if they can just simply label you a different way and erase your identity, come on, man. Don't ask me if 400 years is long enough, bro. Just say that you want to be a slave. Whoa! Just say that you want to accept the white folks' narrative and you want to be a slave. Just say that, bro. There's no need attacking people like me. There's no need questioning people like me, man, because I'm not your enemy, bro. I really don't care what you want to call yourself, man. I mean, I don't care. I sit up here, man, with a full Asiatic name, Afro-Asiatic name, bro. My last name is Asadu Allah. That's my name. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's my name, bro. Asadu Allah. You know what I'm saying? My first, middle, and last name is full Afro-Asiatic. So I'm not tripping on that. I don't have a beef with Africa. I don't have a beef with nobody. But I just read a comment, right, by Polynesian. He was saying that they have been lying about the Polynesian people also, who they really are and where they come from, right? He said, we are actually a black people also, the original of us. and we spoke a Paleo-Hebrew language. Asiatic. I mean, look, everything links. The problem is you don't want it to link. But let you listen to the last part that Mike TV said, because Mike TV is about to also explain this last part, why he doesn't call himself an African American. And see, what y'all don't know is that back in 1988, when Jesse Jackson reclassified Black Americans to African Americans, a lot of Black Americans pushed back on that, which y'all don't know. See, because y'all wasn't there. When they started putting the stuff officially on documentation, a lot of Black Americans, including myself, would scratch out African American and write in Black. Now, Black wasn't a better choice, don't get me wrong. But Black at least showed an understanding that we are not white, that we are the opposite of whatever they are. They call themselves white, so we're going to call ourselves Black. You know what I'm saying? And we sort of accepted that. But I get, anybody who have a beef with calling yourself Black, I have no problem with that, because I do understand why you don't like that label also. You know what I'm saying? I sit here with a black shirt on, black hat, and you can see the contrast in my skin. I am not Black. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the lightest brother, but I'm not Black either. So I get all that. But the point is, what Jesse Jackson did not go over well with so-called Black Americans. Most Black Americans refused the African American label from jump. This is why they had to actually write in African American, Black. They had to do that because the average Black American still was not accepting the African American label. But by them putting it together with Black, they basically made the distinction pointless, right? Because they're in the same category now. So which means there's no distinction really to be made if they put them in the same category. And this is how they trick us, right? So instead of them letting us scratch it out and write something in, no, they say, okay, we're gonna just put it in the same category. And over time, we all became labeled as African Americans. But I want you to hear what Mike TV says about this identity, right?
Do you primarily claim to be African American?
Not at all. I've done my genealogy back into the 1700s. I find Black Indians listed on the Dawes rolls. I find a couple Europeans, if anything. I don't find a single African on the family tree, though. And as a genealogist, I do genealogy research for hundreds of Black Americans across the country, and I don't see Africans on their family trees either.
Now that's important. He said he also do genealogy for hundreds of Black Americans, and he haven't found any Africans in their background either. Now this is what this man do. This is what he does, people. Now don't get mad at me. Go to Mike TV and challenge him, because this is what he does. And shout out to DonnieGlover.com, Donnie Glover, whatever his channel is on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Fair use, you know what I'm saying? This is not trying to steal his content. You got Mike TV and Donnie Glover. You know, shout out to both of those. Donnie Glover for the interview, Mike TV for taking the interview and articulating his position very well. But as you can hear, he said he doesn't call himself an African American because he's done his genealogy. He has found no Africans in his background. He found some Europeans, but no Africans. Now let me explain to you settler colonialism. And you can see it highlighted, right? A central goal of settler colonialism is the elimination of indigenous population to replace them with a new settler society. Colonizers undertake physical removal or identity control. I didn't write that. Settler colonialism aims to establish a permanent society. This makes the displacement of the indigenous inhabitants a necessary goal. And I already said they can do it two ways: physical removal or identity control. You gotta understand what we're talking about here, people. You gotta understand what we're talking about here, bro. You know, and here's another one. One of the things they do is claim the land was empty. You still here right now with all the proof. We got pyramids all through the Americas, you know, South and Central America. We got giant Olmec heads, giant spheres up there in Costa Rica and everything. We got all this evidence right there up the coast of Florida and the coast of the Carolinas. You have a sunken city with pyramids in the water right there. I mean, you could Google it, you could see it yourself. You know what I'm saying? We have all this evidence that the Americas was not empty, but the official story is still to this day what? That nothing was here. And then they say legal structures. Settler states established their own legal structures that invalidate indigenous land rights and sovereignty. I did not write this, people. I did not write this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting you see what it says. I'm just letting you see what it says. Now, one of the things they can do, of course, we know violence and genocide. You see that at the top up there, right? We do know they can do that there. And here we go, identity control right here. Cultural genocide. So when the dude said 400 years is not long enough to wipe out all remnants of a culture, that's what identity control is. It is cultural genocide. Again, I didn't write that. Those are not my words. I'm just reading it to you. Forced assimilation, when outright killing and physical removal were not feasible, colonial powers pursued forced assimilation. This included policies that aimed to destroy indigenous cultural identities and practices. Look, bro, they did it in a generation in Louisiana. My great-grandmother spoke nothing but French because she came from the French West Indies, and it was the French that colonized Louisiana at that time. When she got there, she spoke nothing but French. She didn't speak good English till the day she died. My moms and everybody had to communicate with her. She was my mama's grandmother. They had to communicate with her through French. But my generation didn't learn French because they had outlawed the speaking of French. Once the Louisiana Purchase happened, they outlawed the speaking of French down there. So basically, people spoke French in pockets, mainly in the swamps and everything like that, right? They still spoke French. But in the cities, like the New Orleans area or the Orleans territory, we were not allowed to speak French. So in just a single generation, they destroyed all of our French speaking. But he thinks 400 years is not long enough. That's silliness, bro. That's silliness. In fact, look at the last one say. Cultural destruction. Colonizers systemically attack indigenous cultures, languages, religion, and ways of life. So look, bro, it's not that we don't have remnants of our indigenous culture. It's that we ignore it. Y'all want to be slaves because y'all think that somehow claiming to be a slave is going to curry some kind of favor with these doubles. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you think you're going to get reparations, you're going to think you're going to get money. And I want to talk about that reparations in another video because I heard Boyce Watkins talking about that today. In fact, he did a poll and he made reparations such a big deal, but we never discuss reparations from these angles because we got two different groups of people here. When you talk about delineation, it's more than just FBA versus blacks from everywhere else. You got an IBA problem here also. We got an indigenous population and a foundational black American population who believe that they are descendants of African slaves. These are not the same people, so their goals are not going to be the same. Whatever they seek in the forms of reparation is not going to be the same. It's not the same. We cannot, and this is why total delineation is so important, because we can't allow the FBA to become the mouthpiece for us all. If I was a black person still thinking that I was from Africa, that I was a descendant of slaves, I would be like, nah, man, y'all gotta prove that. Because they did all they can so that they can sever that connection to your past. And they gave you Africa. Listen, bro, if they give you something, you better believe it's not true. This is the next problem I have with you pro-blacks, because y'all version of pro-blackness is really accept anything white folks say. It's really assimilate into white society, to white cultural ways. That's your idea of pro-black, to be a black version of a white person. Because if they say this is you, to me, that's an automatic reason to be distrustful of it. That's an automatic reason to believe that it's a lie. If they say this is you, you should automatically say, nah, they lying about something. Because these people don't tell the truth about nothing regarding us, man. Nothing. They don't tell the truth about nothing when it comes to black Americans. Why do you think they're going to tell the truth about you being from Africa? See? You just trying to find a way to justify believing them instead of believing your brother. So I just showed you that 400 years is more than enough time to destroy a culture, and there will be nothing remain. I played a white professor at the beginning. He said that when a civilization collapses, it takes the total memory of it with it. You still got people living in Egypt, have no memory of it. No memory of it. You got Mexicans down there, they got no memory of those pyramids. They don't know, they make up the Aztec thing, they make it up as they go, but the Mexicans got no memory of the Aztecs. They got no memory of it. Because these civilizations existed way before the current civilizations exist, right? And by the time the current people migrated to those areas, those places had been abandoned for thousands of years. There is no memory of it. So I've already proved my point, you know what I'm saying? The problem is you don't want to see the remnants of our indigenous culture because you just want to be a slave. Fine with me. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, man. Salam.